Malaysia, a motorcyclist paradise with winding roads, a huge sense of freedom, and new sights everywhere you look. A country with one foot in the future and the other rooted firmly in history and tradition. It's a jewel in Southeast Asia. This week, I explore Kelantan, the most traditional state in Malaysia. Very delicate work. It's a really old-school lathe, but seems to work pretty good. Gotta wind these up really tight to get the best spin possible. Woo! Oh my God, look at that. Nice catch. I'm Jaime Dempsey, and I spend a lot of my life working behind the bar in one of the world's hippest cities, Los Angeles. But when the night's over and the sun comes up, I seek adventure of a completely different kind. I'm on a 4-hour journey up the east coast of Malaysia to Kelantan. Besides being one of Malaysia's most notable cultural hubs, Kelantan is famous for hundreds of kilometers of untouched beaches, and I'm heading for one in particular. While doing a little research on the history of the area surrounding Kota Baru, I discovered that the Japanese fired their first bullet of World War II here at Pu'ama Beach. I've been told to ask for Safrani Arifin, a World War II history buff that knows everything about the attack here. Apparently, he's easy to spot. Wow, who are you?
Nippon soldiers.
Well, hello, very nice to meet you.
I'm happy to meet you here.
You look amazing. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Japanese soldiers' uniform when they landed on this beach 71 years ago.
Wow, that's great. Well, you look like the right person to tell me what happened here. So can you tell me a little more?
I will love to.
The beach, albeit rather low-key, has a very significant history.
This is where the Japanese first attacked in the Pacific War, 70 minutes before Pearl Harbor. So it's the very first battle of the Pacific War that changed World War II. They have 5,300 soldiers coming here.
At around 12:25 in the morning on December 8, 1941, waves of Japanese soldiers poured onto this beach. But the British, already contemplating such a move, lined the sands with landmines, barbed wire, and heavy artillery. So there's barbed wire all along here?
Yes. So the Japanese soldiers dig trench under the barbed wire by using their helmets like this.
Oh wow, can I have a go?
Yes.
Let's see. So I can feel what they felt. This is quite heavy.
Yes.
So you got, digging under barbed wire, gotta go through landmines.
Yes.
They really had to work to get through the beach.
Yes. At the time, many soldiers were already killed by the landmine. So they just push their bodies right and go through the, carry on their digging.
They were very brave to do this.
Because for the Japanese, this was a holy war. So you had to die for the emperor and your nation. So it's an honor for them.
More than 5,000 Japanese soldiers rushed the beaches that night in what was often considered the first major battle of the Pacific War. 300 lost their lives in the process. Today, buried beneath the tranquil palm trees and the beautiful white sand lie hundreds of relics, a surreal reminder of what happened that day. Oh, wow.
And go out here.
So bullets coming from every direction.
Yeah.
Sounds like traffic here.
Right. I think this is one of the saddest things I found here. Is the dog tag of the British soldier who was killed in this battle that night.
While most of the survivors of that battle have passed away, history has certainly left its mark. Oh wow, so this is a survivor of World War II right here.
Yes, the survivor of the first Pacific battle here. You see, there are 3 holes here. 1, 2, and 3.
You can see right through here.
Yes, a very big hole. Maybe a heavy machine gun, maybe.
Thinking about all those soldiers fighting for their lives makes me feel lucky to have been born during peacetime, something I always take for granted. It was time to say goodbye to Safrani and his authentic Japanese costume and explore a different kind of fabric altogether. My next stop is a family business that makes songkits, a traditional Malaysian fabric. Oh, and they have preferential parking for Harleys, my kind of place. I've always had an interest in different textiles from around the world. And I've heard about this type of weaving called songket. It's a traditional Malay weaving, so I've come to Jaime to find out a little bit more. Hello, I'm Jaime.
Hi, I'm Kamil.
Hi. These are songkets?
Yeah, this is a songket which is produced by our company, Jaime. I'm the third generation of Jaime weaving industry in Kota Baru, Kelantan.
So family business.
Yeah, it's a family business.
And these are all done by hand?
Yes, it's intricately done by hand. Songket is actually worn during the festive season and also for ceremony.
So how long would something like this take?
For this design, for 2 meters, it takes about 10 days to complete. And we also have the more intricate design, which is the broad pattern, which takes about 3 to 4 months to complete.
It's a very impressive material, beautiful to touch. I had to ask how it was made, and before I knew it, I was staring the weaver's feet in the face. It's hand-woven in silk or cotton and intricately patterned with gold or silver threads that are woven in one strand at a time. Camille did try explaining it all to me. These little white rope strands somehow create the design, and this goes there, and you push this here. But all I could remember was that this cloth costs $3,000 for 2 meters once it's all finished.
Every part of the design we have to weave twice. Then fit is to get the interlock of the thread.
These parts here?
Yes.
It looks complicated.
So would you like to have a go?
If you're willing to let me, I'd like to try it. Okay, so what do I do exactly?
You got to lift this up.
Bring it forward.
Yeah.
Lift
up. Okay.
Up. It's a lot harder than it looks, and it's quite time-consuming making something one strand at a time.
Step harder.
On top of that, you need a very delicate touch. Come here, you. Yeah, this is gonna take me all day long. I'm gonna ruin this. You know what? I don't want to ruin all their hard work, so I think I'm gonna get out of their way. Coming up, I explore Kota Baru on 2 wheels and learn to eat like a Malaysian, as well as spin tops Malaysian style. Woo! It's always great to have a guide show you around a town or place when traveling in a foreign country. Even more so when they're a Harley fan like Camille.
I've been riding for almost 18 years. 18.
Camille wanted to take me to lunch at a favorite place of his to sample a dish that attracts thousands of people all year round. He certainly tweaked my curiosity. Well, I don't know what Kelam has ordered, but it sure looks interesting.
This is the most popular fish in Kelantan.
Yes.
What kind of fish is this?
This one in Kelantan we call it ikan keli or catfish.
Okay, I've never had catfish before, so this will be fun. And this one?
And this is the...
Although it has been farmed and eaten in Asia for hundreds of years, catfish is not exactly an American staple. So I was very intrigued to find out where exactly the resemblance to a cat lies. Apparently the barbels are the whiskers. Ironically, accompanying the catfish was enough food to feed a horse.
We have got very delicious.
I don't know if my bike's going to be able to hold me after all this food.
No, because we like...
I politely kept up the conversation, hoping that the spoons and forks would soon arrive. But that was just wishful thinking. Camille seemed to have other plans.
In Kelantan, traditionally, we used to eat by hand.
All right, well, I want to be as authentic as possible. I'm going to use my hands. It actually feels quite natural, in that unnatural kind of way. I'm a little bit messy.
Those who's not familiar, it's not easy, taken by hand. Yeah.
So I put it in a little bowl like this. And you scoop it in?
Yeah.
Not bad. At least the rice had something to grip on.
That's the best part.
Oh my god, it's so slimy. Okay, I got it. Here we go. Actually, it didn't look very good, but it's really good. After lunch, I took the bike for a quick spin around the village. I've heard that the Kelantanese have a knack for entertaining themselves, so I was curious to find out some of their alternatives to watching TV. And it didn't take long before I came across one. Top spinning, Malaysian style. Top spinning is another favorite pastime of Eastern Malaysians. It's something they learn to do when they're quite young, and they have big competitions for it every year. Like anything else here, it's an art form, and they make all their own tops by hand using no power tools. That's something I'm interested in seeing, so I've come to visit a champion top spinner and see it firsthand. What we have here is the first stage, who's building the base. It's a really old school lathe, but seems to work pretty good. The art of spinning gangsing, or Malaysian top spinning, is one of Kelantan's most prestigious traditions. Actually, I have heard it is more of a sport, and I'm starting to see why. Can I have a go? Okay, I'm a little nervous. Back home, spinning little wooden tops is a kid's game, if you can actually prise the iPad out of their hands. But there is definitely something different going on here. When was the last time you've heard of a spinning top that weighs 6 kilograms and can spin for 2 hours or more? I'm doing it. I'm shaping the wood. It's a lot better than using power tools. I'm not so scared of losing my finger. We're at the next stage here where we're melting down the lead that gets poured into the mold around the wood base to create the metal rim. It takes about 20 minutes to melt this lead. And one thing that I found really interesting is that he's gotten this lead from car batteries, about 3 batteries, which is about 6 kilos of lead. So these tops are quite eco-friendly, which is really cool. So what we're doing here is shaping the top of the top. It's hard to believe that the finished top comes from this. When you see it, you'll know what I mean. Whew, you hear that sizzle? That's how hot that thing is. Cool that baby down. After a few more hours of hard work on the lathe, we go from this to this. Look at that beautiful top, perfectly balanced. These things are kind of heavy too. Someone take these for me. What he's doing now is putting glue on the rope so it sticks to the top. Gotta wind these up really tight to get the best spin possible. The rope is military-grade climbing rope, so it's extremely strong and most importantly, does not stretch. It takes 3 players to play this game, and I got 2 teammates here. All right, let her rip. Oh my God, look at that. Nice catch. It's nothing short of unbelievable. Watching the first man throw this 6-kilogram beast at a carpet-covered box is one thing, but fathoming how his buddy manages to catch it on a little wooden stick is just mind-boggling. A cultural tradition? This is a real danger sport if I've ever seen one. Look what I just caught. It's been an amazing day here watching the pros spin the tops, ripping off the rope, crazy to catch it. I think I need something that's a little easier to do, so I'm gonna ride back into town. I'm gonna pass this back to you. Ooh, careful. As I rode my bike through the glorious Kelantan scenery, I was told to check out the famous kites of this region. And a bit like my experience with the tops, I was told these kites are not your ordinary kites. I have an appointment with the oldest and most famous kite maker in the state, who's been making them for 70 years, but as I understand it, doesn't speak a word of English. Kite flying, or wow flying, is a favorite pastime of the Malaysian people, particularly here on the East Coast. And every year they have festivals where they fly these beautiful works of art. I'm here with a master of wow making, and he's gonna give me a chance to help him make a kite, and hopefully I'll get to fly it later. For centuries, Kelantan kite flyers would battle one another in the air with glass attached to their kite lines in hopes of bringing the other down, a kind of aerial fight to the death. Today, the focus is all about the beauty and the flying. It's hours of painstaking work. Every shape, size, and pattern has to be perfect. I loved making them, and it reminded me a little of when I had my tattoos done. All 15 of them, except a lot less painful. Now it looks like these kites are painted from the distance, but actually each petal is cut out with a knife, and then a colorful paper placed behind it, which will catch the light when it flies in the sun. Very delicate work. The kite frame itself is made up of thin pieces of bamboo, carefully measured and constructed to give the kite its strength. The kite is stuck to the frame using a special wood glue and tissue paper. A big wow like this would take about a month to complete, and a small one like the one I was just working on would take about a week. Now, I don't have a week to finish making a kite, so I'm going to take out one that's already made and see if I can get it up in the air. We brought the kite out to this clearing. Let's see what kind of kite flyer I can be. Okay! These wow have been refined over so many years that they really do take to the sky with the greatest of ease, even reaching heights of up to 450 meters. I think I got it! With just a single piece of string and the tiniest bit of wind, they are amazingly stable and a breeze to control. According to one of the villagers, the word wow actually comes from the noise it makes as the wind passes through it. I thought he was joking, but it does sound like it's going wow. Look at it, listen to the noise it makes. Wow. Sounds like an airplane. Coming up, I find out how batik is made and start the longest part of my journey across Malaysia, all the way to Penang. As I start to head out of Kelantan State, there's just one more important art form to check out. It's another unique Malaysian fabric called batik. But before I head there, I need to make a quick pit stop in town to pick up some necessary essentials. And that includes topping up my phone. It's always great to see one of these places on my travels. These Blue Coop stores are all over Malaysia, and they have everything I need to stay connected. I've uploaded a lot of photos and called home a lot, so I need to reload my prepaid card. My final stop in Kelantan, the Petite Factory. There are hundreds of batik factories dotted throughout Malaysia, which explains why I see so many people walking around in batik shirts and dresses. It's a very popular tourist attraction here in Kelantan, so maybe there's something I can pick up to wear in the bar back home. Batik is a very popular form of clothing here in Malaysia. It's used in baju kurungs for women and traditional shirts for men. You see these brightly colored clothes everywhere, but especially here in Kelantan, where most of it is made. I've come to Northern Batik, one of the best in the business, to see how these garments are produced. Hi! Hello, I'm Jaime.
Hi, Jaime. I'm Chris.
Lucas, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So this is how batik is done. It all starts with something called the chanting process, which is mixing melted wax with resin and carefully applying it to the fabric. The idea is simple. The dye seeps into all the fabric, but the wax stops the dye from dyeing those particular parts. And the color in the background, that's printed before? Is it a screen print or hand?
Actually, this is made from the digital, our digital machine, and then combined with the traditional method in chanting process.
So modern and traditional mixed together.
Yeah, mixed together.
To ensure his batik is the best, Mr. Moklis keeps his factory running at a temperature of 40 degrees to heat set the dyes. It's ridiculously hot and humid, but the women that work here seem completely unfazed. I'm not even sure they possess sweat glands. Apparently, if the temperature drops below 35 degrees, they'll stop production completely. So Moklis, I've noticed batik in many different countries, but I'm wondering is what makes it special here in Malaysia? What's different about it?
The difference is in Malaysia, we're only using the flower motif and abstract, also geometrical motif. So compared to Indonesia, actually, they're using more to animals and fauna motif.
Wow, the flower design is very beautiful.
So it's made for baju kurung for Malay's people.
So female dress, women's
Yes,
dress.
right.
So the next stage after the motif is?
This stage, we do a background coloring motif, and then you don't worry about the color spread away from the motif because the wax will hold the colors from the spreading.
So she doesn't have to worry about these lines here because that's the wax we saw earlier, right?
Yes, as you've seen, the wax outline will hold the color from the spread.
Okay, good, because she's working really fast, so I don't know how she could do such a precise job if she had to worry about that.
After finish the job, the material will sent to the fixing department, and there we're using the special chemical. Its name is sodium silicate or glass water. The material will dip in a day for the fixing process.
And once it's all done and dried, this is what it looks like. Hundreds of different colors, hundreds of different designs. They're incredibly beautiful. Now this is more like it. We've gone from the hot factory where the artists were hard at work to Northern Batique's beautiful and air-conditioned store, where all the finished garments end up. Now it's a shame I can't wear something more like this on the road, but I have to be a little more rugged for the bike. Speaking of the road, I think I hear it calling my name. Time to hit it. As I head out of Kelantan, I face my single longest ride of all, crossing the northern tip of Malaysia towards the heritage island of Penang. I had already seen such beautiful scenery on my journey up the east coast of Malaysia, but I was really blown away by the trail to Penang, especially when we moved through the mountainous region of Perak. I'm riding through the highlands on my way to Penang, and check out the view. This is why I'm riding a bike, just to take all of this in. I can practically see all the way to Thailand. It's amazing. It's almost dangerous how beautiful it is. I gotta remember to keep my eyes on the road and in the rearview mirrors because of all the cars overtaking me. So I'm going a little bit slow to take it all in. And it's worth every second. Next week on Ride and Seek, I check out the beautiful heritage city of Penang and get crazy in the jungle with some extreme 4x4.
And our lives will be the better for it.